It's the Seth Williams Show with Mike Kazelka. And here's your host, Seth Williams and Mike Kazelka.
Welcome to another Monday night. Good evening, Michael. How are you?
I'm good, Seth. How are you?
You know what? I'm shitty. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not all that great tonight. I'm not trying to complain or anything, but just been thinking a lot about stuff and decided that as we were talking earlier today, that I think things need to be freshened up here on the show. So I'm aiming for next week or two to changing a little stuff around here, freshening up a little bit, adding some stuff, and want to get excited about it.
Wake it up and shake it up. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's time to wake it up, shake it up a little bit, do some different things, add some content, add some segments maybe, and have a little bit more fun and get things going a little bit.
I'm all for it.
So kind of excited about that, thinking about that a lot. Today was an interesting day. Not just today, the past few days have been interesting as far as people are concerned. I've decided that I'm surrounding myself with a select group of people because Triv, probably the most intelligent guy that I've ever met in my entire life. He may not have sounded like it sometimes because he didn't have the greatest grasp of the English language, as he admitted numerous times.
Right.
But he was extraordinarily smart, and people didn't understand that sometimes. But he said one thing that stuck out to me, and actually the only real thing that he told me when I got the job: don't trust anybody. And he maintained that the entire time that I knew him. Don't trust anybody. And I've been kind of lax on that at times because I'm an emotional kind of guy.
You're also loyal.
I am. I'm an extraordinarily loyal person as well. And sometimes to a fault. And I've let that get in the way of my career, I think. And I sometimes let that get in the way of just being smart. And so I'm not going to do that anymore. I have to now think for myself, do for myself. And that's what I'm going to do.
And how does that segue into what we're talking about with the show?
I'm sure there's quite a lot of different things.
Well, because I have a few too. It's kind of funny you mention that. I am feeling really good about the precipice we're at because as we took the show nationally and opened up the borders of everything that's going on, there is a whole world of stuff out there that needs, demands, and deserves our attention. And I think we have a responsibility to bring that perspective to everybody,
yes,
that the audience that we're trying to grow. And I'm just going to challenge everybody to just wake up, run with us, stay with us, learn with us, because the only way to broaden your horizons is get out there and take some chances. This is not ever designed to be a show. Well, I'll put it back. I'll put it back. Take it all the way back to when we were talking and you were laying in a hospital bed. I said, 90% of the people that listen to shows like ours, whether it's on the radio or on a podcast or on TV, do that because they sit there like bobbleheads and nod, yeah, because they're hearing and being fed stuff that makes them feel good. All we've ever wanted to do is challenge people, run with people, wrestle with people, stretch imagination and learn from people and stuff like that. And you can't do it if every time somebody hears something that, well, maybe isn't what they were thinking about this morning when they had their cornflakes, you either run away, hang up, or stop listening.
Oh, yeah, that's a big problem. That's a huge problem that I have with some people. They don't want to hear about the Guardians. They don't want to hear about Trump. They don't want to hear about this, and they don't want to hear about that. We do the show because, one, we want to talk about the things that we want to talk about.
Right.
But when I'm getting comments on social media about, well, you better not do a show with that woke left guy that is going to talk all this crap about Trump, blah, 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 or I'm not going to listen. Okay, then don't.
Amen to that. Because if we take this thing nationally, there's a whole lot of other people between here and California and here in Virginia and here in Florida that don't care about the Guardians and don't care whether or not we lambast, praise, or do. I mean, I will tell you this.
We're here to have a discussion
in this show. If anybody gets it, it's because they certainly are going to be called into question, which is why I'll give you an example. We are taking the high road with this show in not jumping in and using it as an excuse to throw sticks or stones or to get people upset over the fact that with what happened last week with the guy who I'm not supposed to mention without pissing people off. But we're taking the high road because we don't know anything yet. Bill of particulars aren't out. The case hasn't just started. And that, I think, puts us above all those people that are guessing and making stuff up and misleading people and getting people all worked up. We're not doing that. We're taking issues that we can talk about, like East Palestine, like what we're going to talk about on the show tonight, and not be afraid of doing anything, because if we're going to grow this show nationally, we got to go a little bit beyond the borders of Cuyahoga County.
Gunner, I love you. Trust but verify. Ronald Reagan. Yeah. Hope you guys had a great Easter. Yes.
Same to you, buddy.
Yeah.
It's still full.
Right. Trust but verify. That is true. That when it comes to people, that's what you have to do.
Amen.
Hope you had a great Easter too, Gunner.
And you know what? You get a comment like this. It's like, we're not wrong. You're not wrong. Your instincts aren't wrong. You're born for this. This is where your talents are. So for you to feel that maybe we just like keep on walking forward and not look to see how many people are behind us, that's the right thing to do, because we're going to be honest, we're going to be fair, and along the way we're going to piss some people off. But guess what? For everybody we piss off, we're going to make new friends too.
And look, I'm not just talking about some people like that were leaving comments today and stuff like that, but I'm talking about even other things that have happened the past couple of days. I mean, I've reached out to people in this search to either find a new career or at least extend this one and go, in a different direction with my job or whatever it is. And, I've reached out to people that claim to be friends when Triv is around. I was their go-to guy. I was the guy that they went to because they needed to get to Triv. They wanted to talk to Triv. They wanted to relay a message to Triv, whatever it was. And so, all the time I got calls morning, noon, and night. Hey, Seth. Oh, Seth, how you doing? Seth, let me get you this, Seth. Hey, tell Triv this. Now, all of a sudden, those people don't want to return phone calls. They treat me like I'm a dick. And that want to have nothing to do with me when I actually need something. Now, I'm not saying all people. There are some fantastic people out there. I've had a lot of help throughout this past year, and it's been coming up on a year since I was in the hospital. And
that's right, yeah.
Near death. I mean, this coming weekend, it was actually last Easter that I was in the hospital. And obviously, the Easter is a week earlier this year.
Right.
But coming up on a year anniversary of me being in the hospital, like near death and all that. And since then, I've had a ton of help from a lot of great, fantastic people. And I really appreciate them. Really good friends. And I can't thank them enough. And a lot of people helping out with this show, too. I can't thank them enough. But there are people out there that really have disappointed me. And Chris Aiken, dude. You want to talk about a friend?
Yeah.
Chris Aiken is a guy that didn't have to even reach out to a guy like me, and he did. And I cherish our friendship, and I will forever. But there are people out there that you contact and you sit there and you say, well, wait a second. All the shit that I did for you for so many years, the help that I gave you when you needed it, and now you kind of like don't want to even acknowledge the fact that I exist. And that sucks.
Yeah. And then you've had it reinforced by the public at large too, man.
Oh, yeah.
It goes back to like the rec center when you fell on the treadmill. And I remember being how disappointed I was. I got excited one morning because Mary Jo had found like 4 or 5 different articles, different ads where Amazon was looking for people that would work at home. And I thought to myself, oh my God, if Amazon needs help for as many people as they did and as busy as they are, and every one of those turned out to be BS too. You followed up on every one of those leads we gave you, and you didn't even get a call back, did you?
No, not a one. So yeah, again, I'm not lumping all people into that category. Of course, I
No.
got some, again, great friends and people that have cared and helped me out throughout the past year, and especially people like yourself, Jim and Sandy, and many others.
Well, I told you, I'm just waiting for that passport information to clear because that Ethiopian princess whose dad left her and a whole bunch of money wants to send me half of that, and I'm going to share it with you. I promise. I've said it on the air.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess it's just been one of those kind of past couple of days, and kind of you sometimes lose your faith in humanity, especially when you see everything that's going on in the country and the world, and you're sitting there going, "What the hell's going on?" I mean, I signed up for so many job sites. Now everything I get texts and calls from everybody known to man. Everything is a virus. My phone is infected with every disease known to man. But I don't know. Like today, another example of how people suck at times. Some people.
Yeah, go ahead.
I get a call just before the show.
Right.
Now, if you've seen Seinfeld, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I get a call. It says from somewhere in Florida. I answer it. And then somebody said, "Oh, blah blah blah, healthcare," blah, blah, and speaking with some sort of accent. And I said, "Excuse me, kind of busy right now." And I asked the person, like again, got it from Seinfeld. "Can I have your home phone number?" And this guy all of a sudden gets real serious and goes, "What the f do you need my home phone number for?" I said, "Because I'd like to call you later tonight. You know, the same way that you're bothering me, I'll bother you tonight." Immediately, this turns from a conversation that I thought was going to be lighthearted, hey, into he says to me, "F you, mother effer." I said, "Excuse me?" Then he proceeds to tell me, this is a quote now. Now I'm going to make it clean.
Right.
But he says, "I'm going to take a hot ember and stick it up your effing A and F you with it." Now, this is a call from a guy who was claiming to be a healthcare representative. And that's what he said to me on my phone.
Yeah. And when you told me that, I thought to myself, this has to be somebody who's working at home because I cannot picture a whole bunch of cubicles stacked together in an office and this guy going off like this. But maybe they're all like that.
I'm slightly concerned that this guy has my phone number, may know where I live, and is going to come over here and actually stick the hot ember up my effing A and F me with it. I'm hoping not.
No, I hope not either, because that's not covered by any policy I know of.
No, I don't think Metro Insurance covers that.
No.
I mean, I can call my representative and see if that is on their list of things.
But here's the thing, for the few people out there that still think technology is our friend. How about when you pick up the phone and it says potential spam? Well, if your phone knows that it's a spam call, why do they let it through? Why do they want you to pick up the phone so that they can make money from you for answering your phone? I just don't get that.
Now, again, mind you, I'm looking for some sort of work or whatever and applying for disability and stuff too. And so I'm answering calls that I normally wouldn't answer because I want to see what they are. I need to know who's actually calling me. Now, this guy was something else, man. Now, again, hope he's not too serious about the F and Ember, but I guess we'll see. I've tried calling the number back since then, and it's just constantly busy.
Yeah, and you know what? You're at a real dilemma because right now you have no idea tonight whether it's going to be safer to sleep on your back or your stomach.
Yeah,
because it's like, which kind of burn do you want?
yeah, a little bit worried about that.
Sleep on your side, dude.
Luckily, I have a dog, so I can.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe the dog will like protect me. It's like a guard dog.
I hope so.
Did you see the picture I posted today?
Which one?
I posted a picture talking about the fact that I got a
yes,
dog.
Yes, and you got to tell that whole story because I did my part to make sure nothing slipped on my end. But did you tell him how Dad finally found out?
All right, so I got this dog a couple of months ago. I'm assuming my dad's probably listening, so he knows. But I got the dog a couple of months ago, and I hadn't really told anybody about the dog because it was just kind of like one of those things. My wife and my daughter went to like a shelter because they saw like I've been really kind of down, kind of depressed, and when you sit around the house a lot,
Yep.
you get kind of lonely. My wife is out working, my daughter's at school or whatever, and it's not like my phone's blowing up with a whole bunch of people to talk to, especially because the people that I used to work with don't call. So you kind of sit there.
Doesn't make any noise.
Tortoise does not make any noise, and so my wife and daughter thought it would be really cool to get me an animal, to get me a dog, because I'm a big dog guy. Always been a big dog guy. So they went to the shelter, and they found the perfect dog ever. Now this dog is a beagle. She was a rescue from and if you might have seen a story in the news about there was a guy in Lakewood who hoarded like 41 beagles. And it was all over the news, on every channel, all kinds of stuff. And just so happened that one of the beagles was at this shelter that we went to out in Elyria. And as soon as I walked into the room, this dog jumped up onto the glass of the pen that she was in and immediately started trying to lick my hand and was the cutest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, man.
So what took her to a little room, and she wouldn't leave my side the entire time. Just sat there, letting me pet her. My wife and daughter were there, but wouldn't leave my side. It was the greatest thing ever. So my wife took her birthday money that she had and said, "I'm going to get this dog for you."
Wow.
And she did. And since then, she's been the best thing in my life.
Cool.
Literally everywhere that I go, she's sitting literally at my feet right now as I do the show. And every time I do a show, she sits right at my feet.
Wow.
Even though people are in the house, walk around, doing their thing, she comes up into the office where I'm at, sits down, and just lays there the entire time while I'm doing a show. If I go, as soon as I'm ready to go downstairs, she goes downstairs with me and follows me around.
Wow. So who adopted who?
Exactly. So hadn't really told anybody about the whole dog thing. And, her name is Presley because my daughter is an Elvis fan. Couldn't name her Elvis because she's a girl dog. So name her Presley. And it's the greatest thing ever. But I hadn't told my dad. My dad came to visit last week. And not that my dad is an anti-dog person or anti-pet person or anything like that. He loves animals. But I didn't want to tell him because, we've been kind of struggling a little bit. And I didn't want him to get upset that, we got a dog. So it was the first time he was at the new house. And I saw him kind of walking up. And then my phone starts ringing. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I go and I see that it's my dad on the phone. And I was like, hello. And he goes, I think we're lost. Is your address blah, blah, blah? I said, yeah. He's like, okay, well, then we're on the wrong street. I said, no, I see you outside. He's like, no, there's a dog in this house.
Okay.
Because the dog was sitting at the window looking out as he was walking up. So then, it was an interesting conversation, but it went well. My dad, again, is a loving guy. He loves animals and stuff, and so it went all right. But I'm kind of happy that the dog thing is out of the out of the closet, so to speak.
And I'm sure she charmed your dad, too.
Dude, you don't understand. This dog doesn't bark. I've heard it bark twice.
Wow.
Once was because there was a guy that must have looked exactly like our owner. She saw this guy get out of a car when we were at a gas station one time and started barking and growling. Wow. But to everybody else, never growled, never barked, nothing. And then when somebody comes up to the door that we don't know or she doesn't know, she does bark at times. But other than that, has never barked, nothing. Just sits there. And it was like the greatest thing ever. But so that's the dog story. She is a great dog, man.
Sweet.
I've had one other dog in my entire life. He lived for 18 years. And so that's a very long time for a dog to live.
Yep.
But I'm excited about the dog. How was your visit with your dad? Hope you guys had a great time together. Yes, we did have a great time. It was nice to see him. He hadn't seen me since I was still in a wheelchair back in early September. So
Man,
it's nice to catch up. But
speaking of, man, I can't even believe it's April already. This year just, whoo.
yeah, it's flying by, man.
It
really
does fly.
What kind of dog do you say it was? She's a beagle. A beagle, and she does like weird stuff, man. Beagles like to dig apparently because she'll find a toy or something like that, and then she'll take it and she'll try to bury it, no matter where it is, whether it's on the couch, in a bed, wherever. She'll just try to bury stuff.
Nice.
Good story. Glad to hear about pup.
Yep. Everybody should have one, or a cat, or a bird. Just a little animal, man, really helps.
Again, especially when you're literally stuck inside of a house because you can't drive anywhere yet.
Yeah.
For literally all day long.
Yeah.
It's nice to have some sort of a companion to walk around and enjoy time with.
Well, I would tell you this, and you need to think about this big time. You finally decide and you finally get a way to do what you want to do and make some money and get a job. First of all, I hope it's because we're busy and on 5 days a week so that we can continue to do this at home. But if you find that you got to leave the house at 8 in the morning and you don't come home till 5 and your wife works and your daughter's in school, I think Presley's going to need a little puppy of her own. And everybody goes, oh, what am I going to do with two things? One, it's not that much more expensive. They don't eat that much more than that. But trust me, as loyal and friendly as that dog is, she's going to need a companion because you don't want her sitting in the window from 8 in the morning till 5 o'clock at night waiting for you to come home.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. A lot of stuff going on today, tonight, whatever you want to talk about tonight. We appreciate all the comments that are coming in, so keep those coming. Scott wants to know, how is Mary Jo, by the way?
By the way, shoulder replacement takes some time, so I wish I could say it's all over and done with. It's not. But she's about halfway there. But the big things that were prohibitive, like using a comb or cutting up your own food and all that kind of stuff, she's that much more independent. I will tell you, though, the worst part is, I used to have a built-in excuse to, give her a shower, wash her hair, take a bath with her. But she can do all that by herself now. So that's the only thing I miss.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's doing well. Thanks for asking.
All right, a lot of stuff going on. Comedian Jon Huff is going to be calling in. He's been kind of popping in and out here as I'm watching the screen. He'll be calling in at some point this evening, right? What time?
6 o'clock. He's at the top of the hour.
All right, he's been popping in and out. And then we do have a lot of stories to get into. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, of course. What should we get into first here? Of course, we got the Bud Light story that people want to talk about. A lot of people getting into that.
We got some
also
of those.
the shooting today, though. We have to kind of get into that a little bit.
Before we jump into that, are you going to do a break and come back?
I can.
Well, here's the thing, and maybe we can take just a minute or two and then go out with this. But I wanted to tip my hat this weekend to the Guardians and their home series, because I thought they did right, and I thought they did Cleveland proud, and I really got a tear in my eye watching at home, because it wasn't at the stadium. It must have been even more intense there. But hats off to the Guardians for being first class, and the tribute to John Adams was not only really deserved, but it was really well done.
Yeah, what else is cool? I saw even in Oakland, some people there had a tribute to John Adams with a big banner and everything else.
Yep.
I think we're going to see a lot of that this year across the country.
I hope
and I think that's cool. I think it's very cool. I know Peter Nab is still traveling all over the world, seeing all these games, and he's having a good time. I'm sure we'll check in with him again, not tonight, but soon. I'm assuming the Guardians play tonight, right? Don't they?
Yeah, it's the Yankees are town for what
tonight?
Yeah, 6 o'clock tonight. So I don't know.
6 o'clock. What the hell are we doing? We're gonna end the show at 6.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
He's gonna be watching us.
Yeah.
Guardians. Yeah, 6:10 tonight. Who's pitching?
With the new scheduling and stuff like that, I think we only play them 7 times. So I think that's once here and once there. So we'll see.
Interesting. All right. Do you want to take a quick break and we'll get into the shooting that happened today in Louisville?
The news of the day after the commercials of the day.
Sounds good. Hang on.
Hey, it's Seth from Mario's Barbershop in Parma, 7526 Broadview Road in the Pleasant Valley Shopping Center right next to Big Lots. You got to check out Mario, man. Great guy, does a lot for charities, but can perform miracles with hair. He even made me look clean cut. Does my hair, does a great job. Love talking to the guy while I'm sitting there. It's a great place to go, local business. You gotta go to Mario's Barbershop in Parma. Mario's Barbershop in Parma, 7526 Broadview Road. Again, in Parma, Pleasant Valley Shopping Center, right next to Big Lots. Or give them a call, 216-520-1977. That's 216-520-1977. Mario's Barbershop in Parma.
Trust Joe's Lakewood Computer at 14035 Madison in Lakewood. They have over 30 years of professional service handling laptop and desktop repair services, virus removal, and data migration, and much more. You can trust them with hardware updates to your computer's memory and hard drive. Call 216-651-3880. Whether you need a simple Windows install or you're interested in the latest computers for gaming, call Joe's Lakewood Computer at 216-651-3880.
This is Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers, for attorney Will Spiegelberg. Will Spiegelberg is not only a name you know, he's someone you can trust as your attorney, no matter the circumstance. Will Spiegelberg is an attorney you can always count on. Will Spiegelberg is the attorney you should contact for all your legal work. When you need an attorney, call Will Spiegelberg at 216-233-4240. Attorney Will Spiegelberg, a great teammate. 216-233-4240.
We're back.
Approximately 8:30 this morning, Louisville Metro Safe received a report of shots fired and a possible active shooter at 333 East Main Street at the Old National Bank. Within 3 minutes of being dispatched, officers arrived on scene and encountered the suspect almost immediately, still firing gunshots. Officers exchanged gunshots with that suspect, and ultimately that suspect did die at the scene. We are trying to confirm if that suspect died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound or was killed by officers at this time. At least 2 officers were shot during this exchange of gunfire. One is currently in surgery at University of Louisville Hospital. At least 4 more victims were confirmed to be deceased inside the location, as well as 8 that are now currently being treated at the University Hospital. 2 are critical, one of those being the officer. I want to reiterate that there is no active threat. We believe this is a lone gunman involved in this that did have a connection to the bank. We're trying.
All right, we're back. Not good stuff out there in Louisville. I think 9 people now were confirmed injured. That was a report from earlier today. 5 dead, including the gunman who did have a connection with the bank. I think he said it was a 23-year-old white male who worked there. Went in and started shooting. Took the officers 3 minutes to get there, and they did apparently kill the suspect. Now, once again, things go political. Hang on a second, Mike. Hang on. Nobody can hear you. There you are. You there?
139 times this year.
What?
A mass shooting and a mass shooting.
Actually, I think it was 156 times this year we've had mass shootings.
Wow.
Now, let's clarify. A mass shooting is defined as 4 people or more.
Yeah.
4 people or more is a mass shooting. Now, let me give you this stat, though. 4% of these mass shootings, 4% have come from long guns. ARs, whatever they are called, if you want to call them assault rifles, which is not what AR stands for.
Right.
But 4%. 96% have come from handguns.
Right.
Now, Rick, yep, it wasn't the gun; it was the finger. Take away the fingers, makes as much sense. Now, here's the deal. I thought about this long and hard, especially after listening to the governor today, and the governor's a Democrat.
Yeah.
And so normally I would have something to say, but the guy made a lot of sense. Today is really not the day to get into the politics and the issues of things.
Right.
But that's what we do here on the show because that's what we're about. That's what the show is. We're not. So I don't care what gun you use, but if you want to have gun control, you want to have restrictions on guns, maybe that's what you do. But I want to see if they start, because again, 90%, 96% of these shootings are from handguns. I want to see the Army. I want to see the police. I want to see the Marines. I want to see them start going into these cities like Chicago, like Philadelphia, like Los Angeles, like New York, hell, even some parts of Cleveland, and just start going door to door and wiping these kids and these thugs off the streets who are out there shooting everybody. Take their guns, take them off the streets, put them in jail, and let's get rid of the criminals. Let's go ahead and do your background checks on mental health problems, and that's fine. This kid didn't seem to have any kind of mental issues. I don't know what his problem was with the bank. I'm sure we'll find out at some point. But let's get the armed forces in and start taking all these kids away with all these guns so all this stuff stops. Instead of going after immediately the law-abiding citizen who has the guns, let's start getting the criminals with the guns off the streets and those guns off the streets.
I think that the governor, too, was onto something. But I take umbrage with the knee-jerk reaction that any attempt to do things like background checks, to do things like red flag laws, to do things about having a 7-day waiting period is not going after the legal and law-abiding sportsman, gun enthusiast, gun owner that just wants to protect his life, his liberty, and his property as guaranteed by the Constitution. I, too, only want to go after the people that have no business having guns. But if that means that before you can buy a gun, you have to pass a background check, then let's not be afraid of background checks. Because just like people that say, well, there's cameras everywhere. If you don't have anything to hide, you don't have to worry about the cameras. Well, guess what? If background checks are everywhere, if you don't have anything to hide, you don't have anything to worry about a background check.
Now, see, I am on board with you. I am absolutely on board with you to say that background checks are not necessarily a bad thing. Now, I think it was the Covenant school shooting. The person did have mental issues, mental problems.
Yeah.
The guns were hidden somehow. They were.
Yeah. But I got to tell you,
but again, I'm going to say to you, where is the instance where somebody maybe like this banker kid, 23 years old,
right,
goes through a background check? He's, again, 23 years old. He's got his entire life ahead of him. Had a good job, apparently. I mean, a banking job is a good job. Passes the background checks, has his guns, gets his guns. A week later, he's fired, snaps, and does what this guy did. Now, I don't know if this guy was fired or not.
No, but you raise a legitimate thing. If you pass the background check, that's where you got to draw the line and say shit happens.
Right.
And you do all we can do. I'm not for pushing it beyond the limit because I don't think confiscation does anything except hurt all the wrong people. But we also have to do things to reinforce the fact that and come to grips with the fact that you have to have a mental issue if you're going to walk into a school or a bank or a concert or a nightclub or a Central Park or a parade or any of the places these things happen and start opening fire on people that you don't know. It's the people, not the gun. I don't disagree with all of that. And here's the thing. They are doing studies to see if some of that stuff can be detected way in advance. And they're talking about things that might show up in reading somebody's pupil or doing diagnostic this, that, and the other thing. And I'm not so sure that within 50 years, the science and technology doesn't make them think they can do that. When that day comes, I think if we haven't done anything short of that by then, everybody's going to be ready to say, fine, go get them. Go find all of them and go get them.
Now, Gunner has a good point here. Guns are the instrument. Where is all this mental illness coming from that a person would do something like this? I mean, look, let's not act like this is something brand new, though, Gunner. This has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, but you know what?
Shootings have gone on for a long time.
Yeah, but
there's a reason why they call it going postal, because that was going on for a long time.
Right.
I mean, this kind of stuff has happened. Now, we have now a 24/7 news cycle where it doesn't matter what channel you turn on, you can find news all around the world. You can do whatever you want to do on TV. And so you're going to hear about this kind of stuff a lot more.
Right.
Than you did. But it's been going on forever. I mean, this isn't a brand new thing. So I don't know where the mental illness is coming in, but maybe people have been always mentally ill.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's like some sort of excuse, or it's a distraction. I mean, at my age, everybody used to say that mental illness wasn't an excuse. It's certainly not. Insanity is a defense, but having an issue or getting laid off or being under stress or pressure, that doesn't rise to guilty by reason of insanity under the law. And 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, when this stuff was going on, nobody said, oh, well, they have a sickness, they have a disease. It was like, there's something wrong with you. We'll all agree with that, because you don't murder somebody unless there's something wrong with you, but it ain't an excuse. You're still going to prison. I just don't like the fact that everything now is, oh, people, Jesus, for God's sakes, there's people that can't go buy an avocado unless they have their emotional support dog with them.
Oh my God. I mean, it's kind of insane. I mean, I saw a guy the other day. He was getting out of the car to go into a gas station, and he was wearing a mask when he parked his car. I'm staring at this guy.
Yeah.
He put on his second mask to go inside. Now, everybody, I think, has kind of lost their minds, but at the same time, you're right. I mean, everybody has stress. It's not like there's a person out there that doesn't have something wrong in their lives.
Yep.
I mean, I lost a leg. I lost my job. I lost my friend. I can't drive. But I've never sat there and thought about going and shooting up something.
No.
I mean, shit does happen, and most people can handle it. But it seems like more and more people are using that excuse.
Yeah.
Some sort of excuse.
Here's the thing. This is the one thing that bothers me, is that everybody either turns the gun on themselves or won't stop shooting until they get shot. Because all we can do is guess. The shooter always dies with the thing. We don't have anybody that we can ask, why did you do that? How did you do that? And I don't know. I think we're going to reach a point where everybody's going to have to carry their cell phone at all times. The cell phone's going to be equipped with an explosive device. And if you send out a text that says, I'm going to go down and blow up the school, your phone's going to blow up and kill you before that happens. And yes, Great Britain has stabbing issues, but not anywhere near the rate that, 1 or 2 a year over there does not qualify as an epidemic.
We talked about this somewhat last week, and I guess we can hit on it again. But I don't see how. And I even talked with my dad about this. But there is no way to take everybody's guns. There's no way to do that. There's no way to do it physically. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to send, like I said, the Army and the Marines through the streets and just pick up people's guns and go door to door and take people's guns from them. You can't do it. It won't happen.
No.
You'll never get rid of all guns. But if you're going to make a start at that, you want to try to do that, start with the bad people and get those guns out of their hands.
And start with
the criminals off the street.
I would say one other thing, though, too. Give the police a fighting chance. Those guns that you can buy all the parts on the internet and assemble them at home, they don't have a serial number, and they were never registered, and there's no way to track them. There's no way to trace them. That doesn't do law enforcement any good, and you don't need one of those to defend your house or kill a deer.
No, you don't.
So there's all kinds of crap on the internet you can get rid of.
There should be regulations on stuff like that. You and I totally agree, I think, on that. I'm not against taking I'm against taking people's rights away, but I'm not against, keeping people and especially our children safe.
Yeah.
So there should be regulations on what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
But short of taking away the Second Amendment, you can't do that. And you're not going to, again, go house to house taking people's guns away. But there should be some sort of regulation. I was watching the news today after this shooting happened in the bank, and the guy goes, well, we shouldn't have guards everywhere at schools and banks. Well, yes, I'm sorry, you should have a guard at a bank. That's where money is. That's where people generally go if they want to rob and take money. My wife works at a bank, and I'm happy that they have a guard.
Yep.
I think they should have more guards. I told her today that's the job that I want, is to protect her bank, because it would be the safest place ever, because I would protect it like I would protect my home, because my wife works there. I think guards should be places. And we need more police.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If we don't voluntarily work together to find a way to become more civilized, more supportive, God forbid, use the word more loving, more caring, more respectful about each other, the only way we're going to ever stem the natural inclination is with snipers. We're going to need somebody on every corner going, enough is enough, because that's going to be the only way to. And here's a couple of sobering things to think about. If everybody in the Ukraine had a Second Amendment and those people were all armed to the teeth, those guns don't do you any good when somebody 300 miles away is constantly bombarding your city. You sit at home and you don't see or hear the missile coming. The fact that you got 16 guns in the house isn't going to protect you. But that's not why we're here either. It's just a commentary on saying that you can only feel so safe with all that unless everybody that has a gun is also a kinder and better neighbor and friend and so on and so forth. And then there's people that go, well, there's a pipe dream, dude, because the world.
Yes, I just want to tell you that, and no offense.
Yeah, no. I'm saying I threw that out there as a pipe dream because that's just the way it is. Just like the fact that it's also a pipe dream to think that just because you pass a reform or a law that means that you got to register or pass a background check doesn't mean we're coming after the good people's guns either. There are all kinds of sick, twisted people in this world, and they'll end up with something. I just don't think that, by the only thing that's different from when I was a kid is everybody that was my age when I was 5 and 6 and 7 years old wasn't playing a video game on a telephone or a laptop where they killed hundreds of thousands of people all day long.
Yeah,
I know 5-year-old kids playing things where they blow up spaceships and missiles and soldiers and monsters, and that's all they do is sit there with the joystick and kill shit.
Yeah, but look, I don't blame video games or movies for people being weird with guns. I mean, like I played games all growing up, and I didn't want to shoot anybody.
Yeah, but you were grown up by that time.
No.
I don't know about what happens to 18-year-olds now, because here's the thing.
I wasn't grown up. I played video games when I was younger too.
Yeah, but everybody wants to go out and make the news. They're not content to just like go upstairs in the attic and deal with their depression. Everybody wants to like have their 15 minutes and go out a hero.
Again, no, you can't blame video games and movies for stuff like that. Again, we have to progress with time and progress with the different things that are going on. And we don't ban video games and movies now too. The problem is, Mike, is that your idea of, everybody's going to love each other and everybody's going to be okay. It's just not going to happen. People are so angry and so sad and so depressed and so this or so divided. And again, I talked about it earlier today, is that I had to go to a building today where I knew that somebody worked there that, again, I had talked to with Triv and knew Triv and was close to for a lot of years. I dealt with him through charities and stuff. I really was I thought a good friend.
Yeah.
When I stopped by this building, I couldn't get the guy to come out and just say hello to me. I couldn't get him to just answer my call.
Wow.
Now, people are just so rude and so fucked anymore that you're never going to bring people together. You're just not. When people are like that, when people talk behind your back, people do all kind of crappy things.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good people out there too. But my point is, you're never going to get everybody to get together and sing songs and have a bonfire and hang out and decide on the next president together. You're never going to be able to do it. And so I don't know how you get rid of all these problems. I don't know how you get rid of gun violence. I don't know how you get rid of stabbing violence. I don't know how you get rid of anything, because nobody's ever happy. Nobody. Well, maybe the parents should be more involved.
There you go. That was my next one. I mean, when I'm saying, I wasn't talking about banning everything, because the legislature and the government certainly isn't the answer. But I swear to God, man, if you do not have the time or the disposition or the dedication or the willingness to be a good parent, pull out.
Yeah, I will say this. I am proud of one thing the other day. I'll just toss this in there since Natalie brought it up. My daughter last week received 2 awards. Now, they were giving out awards for a lot of different things. Achievement, which is more academic stuff. But my daughter got 2 out of the 4 awards they were giving away. One was for engagement, and the other one was for character. And the fact that my daughter got those 2 awards, including the character award, made me so happy, because my daughter is a good person.
Yep.
And if there were more parents out there teaching their kids how to be good people, and these kids weren't crappy little snots running around, then maybe the mental health thing would go down, and maybe the gun violence would go down. Maybe if parents were more involved, that would be a good thing.
And because what happens when
Trev always said you got to get the family back together.
Yeah. But even, when somebody does something like this and then they go interview the parents, and the parents go, well, we had no idea they were building a bomb in their basement or in their living or in their room. And the people go, why? And they go, well, it's their room. I'm sorry, folks. You may want to respect your kids' rights to private, but it's your house. It may be their room, but it's your house. Make sure there's nothing going on in there either. And I don't know. Maybe if the kids don't know how to be accountable for their actions, stuff like that, that's not innate. That's not in your DNA. That is a learned behavior. You have to be responsible. You have to be caring. You have to set that example. And I don't know.
For some reason, these types of games, affect certain people differently, and they go do these horrible things. Okay, again, I don't know what kind of society we're going to live in when we start banning everything. We're going to ban video games.
It's not a matter of banning, Seth, but my point
what do you want to do?
If you
already have ratings on the games.
All right, but listen, if you got a little weird 12, 13, 14-year-old that 16 hours a day sits in the corner all by himself, and that's all he wants to do is play Dungeons and Dragons, get him a counselor. Don't just wait and go, why? If your kid is weird, admit it. And if your kid's really weird, don't be afraid to hit it.
Well, amen to that. But again, you don't blame the video games for that. You don't blame movies for being too violent. You blame the parents for not watching what their kids are doing.
Yeah, because there's 99 out of 100 kids that can play those games, and there's nothing wrong with it. But listen, you don't. Well, we had no idea little Johnny was weird. Well, talk to him. Find out. Ask him, are you weird or not? And just don't be weird yourself, and set the example of weirdness in your house.
As you know, there is violence and sex and everything else in the Bible. All right, this stuff has been around for a very long time.
Amen. So Cain killed Abel. There are 4 people on the planet, and they were in paradise.
It didn't start with Call of Duty.
Exactly.
So you got to be careful what you want to start getting rid of.
Yeah, I didn't. You notice I haven't said ban one time.
No, I'm just saying what Natalie had said was,
Yeah, and so I just want everybody at home to notice that there's a great big gap between being involved and banning everything.
For us in the country, we don't worry about missiles. We worry about the leftovers from cities that want to do harm. And yes, we use rifles for our food. Yes, not ARs, but they want to take baby steps for disarming us.
See, I disagree with that, because nobody has ever knocked on the door at night, and it's not because you resist every single thing. That's as much of a myth as saying that, there shouldn't be any involvement at all. Nobody is going to successfully be able to take away everybody's guns. That's when it's time to get your gun out and use it. Like I said before on this show, we fought a revolution because they were going to raise the price of tea. If they start taking people's guns away, that's a call to arms. But in the meantime, there's nothing wrong with some of the registration and background steps to keep or try to identify as many weirdos that shouldn't have guns ever in their hands.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this lately because of the past school shooting and then what happened today, and I can't sit here and say to take guns away from people, but I can say that the regulation maybe isn't a bad thing, but what regulations that needs to be worked on, but you just don't start banning guns. You don't start taking stuff away from people. I don't know.
Never, because you know what? As sick and weird and twisted as this country is, and in every attempt to find a new way to make a buck, some sicko is going to put out a lottery or put odds on where the next horrible thing's going to happen, what city it's going to happen in, and there'll be a payoff. And that's as wrong as everything else is too. But that's the kind of stuff that happens when you don't do anything.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. I kind of want to go buy a gun tonight after I got that call from apparently Florida, who said he's going to do that thing with the hot ember with my backside at some point.
Well, at least you get a gun and not Vaseline.
I mean, eat both and a hose. I don't know.
Sick, dude.
I'm slightly concerned about that call that I got. Gunner, what happened to use a gun, get 3 years? We are not prosecuting these people, DAs, or letting them plead out. No consequences. Absolutely. Come on, Mike. You know the law. You've been a criminal defense attorney. You know what it's like. That some of you see it going on. Philadelphia, New York. A lot of these DAs anymore. LA, huge. They're letting criminals go. They're not prosecuting them. They're letting them go with these bail laws. They're doing all kind of things to make it easier for criminals to walk.
Well, first of all, bail is in the Constitution just like everything else is, because all bail is supposed to do is guarantee that you will show up for court. Now, repeat offenders and stuff like that, that's a complicated issue. Because nobody wants to hire anybody once they've got a record. And the problem is this: 99% of people that go to prison are coming home. I don't care if the sentence is 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 12 years, that person's coming home. And if they can't rent an apartment and they can't find a job because, well, you've been to prison, then that means that there's going to be trouble down the road because there's nothing left for them to do. There are some brilliant things being done in this city. Check out Brandon Krastowski. Check out the work that he's done to do rehabilitation and to teach guys cooking and how to get a job afterwards and stuff like that, and welcome people back into society. And you might lessen the blow of that a little, but second, third, fourth time offenders, those prison sentences should get progressively longer, because at that point in time, it's not just an illness and it's not an excuse. You're making some really bad choices that are dangerous to everybody else.
I mean, if you watch the news for any period of time over the past year, you've seen criminals that are going out there and they're repeat offenders but they're hurting people. They're killing people in some instances where they've been let out of jail early, or they haven't been prosecuted at all. A lot of these people that are doing these smash and grabs and going into stores and just stealing whatever they want because they can. There's no consequences right now for people. None. And that's really, really scary.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, there may not be enough prisons. Maybe we need more prisons. I don't know, but when they set laws in California, they can steal up to this much before you're going to get in trouble. Hell, I want to go do it.
Yeah,
I got a shopping list of stuff for Christmas that I'd love to get working on.
I will tell you this country leads the entire world in the percentage of people that are incarcerated.
What's wrong with
percentage of people that get sent to prison. So I got to tell you something. Maybe it's worth taking a look at how we spend our time, what we teach our kids, what passes for just, the freedom to be as ignorant as you want to be, and what the consequences for that are. You don't have this problem in Finland. You don't have this problem in Sweden. You don't have that. And you know what? Maybe that's a topic for another show. Maybe that's something that everybody within the sound of our voice should do a little bit of research on and have an opinion about and contribute to the discussion, because I don't think the answer is building more prisons. And it's certainly not, I don't disagree with the gang problem, but the other problem we're facing, Seth, and I'm open to answers and suggestions for this. The problem's getting younger and younger and younger and younger. Those three people, all the last heinous crimes, the last half a dozen of them that I followed on the news in Florida and Texas are 12, 13, 14-year-old kids.
Yeah.
There's somebody in Cleveland, 13 years old, and police in a car chase injured a dozen people and killed somebody. And the kid crawled out of the car. He was 12, 13. That's parents, man. And here's the other thing too. You got to put that, like Triv said, that whole family back together, because that's way too much to expect when mom's got to work 10, 12 hours to feed her kids.
I mean, I saw a video not that long ago of must have been like a 6 or 7-year-old kid who was on camera.
Yeah.
Saying F the police.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a taught philosophy. I mean, somebody taught that kid what to say. There is a real big problem. I think a real big problem does have to do a lot with the family.
I do too.
And,
I hate to say it, but it has to do with, it has an awful lot to do with kids having kids. I don't know if you're equipped to be a parent when you're 15, 16, 17.
No.
Don't.
I don't think a lot of the people that are in their 30s are equipped at this point to have children.
But then the other thing is too, and I'm going to say this out of that, there are some people that find themselves in that circumstance that rise to the occasion, that are hardworking, that are doing all they can, that are raising good kids, and then turn around and their kids raise good kids. It's a commitment. It's a decision that you make on an individual basis to be a better person. I will take everybody's taunts and jeers and laughter, but you, in your heart of hearts, have to know that finding a way to make it easier for people to learn or have consequences for not being a better person is a hell of a lot easier than dealing with funerals and mass shootings and the kind of tragedies that are only going to get worse.
Yeah. All right, we got comedian Jon Huff apparently coming on at 6 o'clock tonight, so in a few short minutes. So let's take a quick break. Let's get the new rock moment in for the hour, and then we'll take a break, and we'll be right back.
See you.
What's going on, everybody? Chris Aiken here with another edition of the New Music Moment right here on the Seth Williams Show. And today we are going to feature a band known as Red Rain. Some of you may have seen this band before because they do play somewhat in the area. A lot of Pittsburgh gigs. They do play somewhat in Pittsburgh quite a bit, even though they're from Virginia. But they make the drive to come up. They're a completely independent band. They're really, really a fantastic rock band. They're getting ready to release a new album here, probably the middle of this year, but they've been working their EP, which is simply called Red Rain, for about 4 years now, and they've toured with bands like Tesla, they've played with Dokken and those types of bands, Jackal, Quiet Riot, etc. So they've played with a lot of bands that you might know. They tend to play Jurgles a lot over there in Pittsburgh. So if you've ever gone to Jurgles, you might have run into Red Rain. Kind of a classic sounding hard rock slash metal tinged band. They're led by singer Bubba McMichael, who's really fantastic. Just a great band, great solid effort. They're a little bit older guys. They're kind of our age, maybe a little younger than me, but they're in their 40s range, which means that they're seasoned, and they really are a fantastic band. So why don't we do this? We'll play their single, which has been a hit. It has actually done quite a bit of business for them on the internet and out there on like online radio and whatnot. So let's check it out. This is their single, Not That Way. And this is Red Rain right here on the Seth Williams Show. Kicked ass, didn't it, you guys? Yeah, it did. That, of course, Red Rain, Not That Way. That is their biggest single to date. Like I said, they have a brand new release that's coming out. It's being done by all pros. It's I believe it's being produced by David Ivory, who does Hailstorm and bands like that. So it's not these guys are not rookies by any stretch of the imagination, and their music kicks ass. So check these guys out. Go online, redrainmusic.com is the website if you want to check them out. And, of course, go to the streaming platforms. They are out there to be listened to if you want to hear more. So Red Rain are the band. Check them out, redrainmusic.com. And that's going to do it for this episode of the New Music Moment here on the Seth Williams Show. Make sure you check me out, chrisaiken.net for Chris Aiken Presents, which airs Mondays live, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., or during the week if you just want to get the clips, the on demand, it's all there, chrisaiken.net. And for the Seth Williams Show, this has been the New Music Minute, and I have been Chris Aiken. And you know what, folks? Promise, I will be again next week. See ya! What separates Triv's restaurant in Strongsville from everybody else? Some restaurants you go to eat the same thing over and over and over. But then there are restaurants like Triv's where you want to go there every single time and eat something different until you have eaten every single item on the menu. Why? Because the food's delicious, and it has been for almost a quarter of a century. Triv's has amazing food, outstanding service, and an opportunity for you to have private dining, special events, and intimate occasions. You can enjoy a memorable fine dining experience in your own dedicated, intimate space. Visit Triv's in the heart of Strongsville. Call now for reservations, 440-238-8830. Triv's in Strongsville. Joe Burdick custom flags are amazing. Each flag is handcrafted to reflect the imperfect perfection, making each piece of patriotic wall art unique. This is a local small business, veteran-owned and proud. Joe Burdick creates symbolic artwork that is built to last. Display your spirit, pride, and patriotism by calling 440-305-2065 and let Joe's Flags serve you. 440-305-2065. Joe Burdick Flags. Let me introduce you to Charlie's Auto Repair. Any car, any truck, any problem, Charlie's does it right. You know how it is. The check your engine light comes on, you put air in the tires, and the light is still on. 216-470-0170. That's Charlie's Auto Repair, 13728 Madison in Lakewood. Charlie can do it all, from small engine repair to fleet maintenance and system diagnostics. Winter is here, so call Charlie's Auto Repair for snow plowing needs. 216-470-0170. Charlie's Auto Repair. Let Charlie make your car great once again.
All right, back here, the Seth Williams Show with Mike Jaselka. And a lot of comments still coming about parents and everything else. We'll get back to this. I also want to get into the Bud Light ordeal with the... well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
right now, though, we have comedian Jon Huff joining us. Comedian Jon Huff. How are you, my friend?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, John. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you, man.
Well, it's no-brainer as far as I'm concerned because as I posted earlier today on Facebook, we had that situation down in East Palestine, and because this is Ohio, Ohio people do what Ohio people do, and a bunch of us have decided to forego a performance fee and put on a show to raise some money for the people down there. You certainly are one of the stars of that event. And you deserve not only for people to meet you, get to know you, but in our own special way, say thanks for what you're doing.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man.
How long you been doing this?
I've been doing stand-up now almost 11 years, man.
Yeah. I'm from Cleveland. I moved away for a long time. I was out of the business for a while because I went to law school. But, man, the way the world's going today, I want back in a big way. So I'm looking forward to sharing the stage, Seth. Most of the people on the bill and stuff like that, working with John will be great again. And like we've talked before, we're doing 4 shows to raise some money. That 5th show we're going to do free for the people in East Palestine. And even Natalie said, welcome to the show. So 11 years, man.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool having you on. I appreciate you doing this show tonight. And I appreciate everything you're doing for the charity. I think it's cool. How'd you get involved in this?
I had an ear for comedy literally since I was little, man. But I decided to get involved like in 2012. I heard about this open mic they were doing out in Liberty, Ohio, at Shakers.
Okay.
And I went in there. I had some friends who was doing it, and so I signed up for this open mic 2 weeks in advance. So the whole 2 weeks, I just like kind of like barricaded myself in the house. Like this is like really what I want to do. So I kind of like I would just watch the stand-ups after stand-ups. I go home for work and go straight to the Richard Pryor, the the Bill Cosby, DVDs. Like this is something I was like always serious about. And then I was having my doubts too because like I don't know if people know me outside stage. I'm a little shy sometimes too. So. And people always told me I was funny. You should do stand-up. You know how you get those signs, how people telling you can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't. I mean, I can be funny around people I know, but it's like it's different when you go around a bunch of people you don't know and try to tell jokes. I know it's like some sort of method, some sort of art to it. So I had to kind of like really like study it. You know what I mean?
Well, at least you took it seriously enough, paid your dues. There's a lot of people just need therapy.
Oh yeah, I still take it very seriously. I've had my cuts and scratches with it. I had my fallouts, my beefs, but it's mostly been a great journey though. The perks is pretty good. Outweighs the bad. You know what I mean? Just like any other job. It's hard, but
being on the road is cool too. Traveling and opening up your world, that's probably one of the nicest perks.
Yeah, that's definitely a number one perk of stand up. And meeting different people, going somewhere different. Even
Right,
like
you don't take offense to stuff then, right? You have a thick skin if you're a comic, right?
oh yeah, I'm pretty I was always like that. I never let words bother me, like to me words are just words. Everybody entitled to their own opinion. I've had people say stuff about me like he ain't funny but it's like, but you can't. I mean, you're like, at the end of the day, they're just critics, They can't do what we do, Mike. You know what I mean?
Amen.
So we win in either way.
I tell you, the first time I tried to do stand-up comedy, I went up there. I still remember one of the first jokes I ever wrote. And I walked off stage and I knew instantly that I had stuck up the joint, but it felt like home. It felt like home. And it's like I couldn't stop going back. That first joke, by the way, is I went to a Chinese porno film. And an hour later, I was horny again. So that's not going to get you very far in this business, but like that audience and that stuff, what a rush. It felt like home.
That's pretty funny. I remember the first time I went up, I think I got a little bit of laughs, but it wasn't. But I caught the bug from there. But I think it was like remember I was telling you about the open mic, and it was like 18 comics on it, and I was like the last comic.
Okay.
I was so nervous, and I remember I got so drunk too, so I was a little like sloppy.
Yeah.
But I still did it though. And after that, I was like, wow, I caught the bug from there. Like, I want to keep doing this and doing this. Like
you do corporate stuff too, don't you, John?
Corporate. I don't believe I've done any corporate shows.
Okay. I was gonna say first of all, I think that market's drying up because nobody works in big offices anymore. But
I had a guy hit me up last year about doing a corporate show, but he never got back to me.
Okay. What's your give us a good road story from being on the road?
Good road story.
Well, let me ask it this way: instead of just do you also write material while you're on stage? Stuff come to you when you're up on stage?
Nah, it never come to me. It always come to me it come to me everywhere else but on stage. Like I could be like at work. I could be at work and a joke will come up in my head, and I try to immediately try to write it down, and then sometimes I forget. Like, oh man, that joke was funny, and then I forget.
Yep.
Or I could be I could be like in church or at a funeral, and sometimes like something funny will pop up in my head.
It's very true.
I'm one of those type people. Like most comics, we can make jokes out of any situation.
Right.
I'm going to ask because I'm getting some people texting me. So please don't take offense to what I'm about to ask you. All right. I don't want you getting mad at me. You're not in like an area of disease, are you? Because I'm worrying about the mask being on your face there. I'm just wondering because those things don't work. I didn't know if it was a fashion statement or if it was just something that went with the sweatshirt or.
I always wear when I'm actually at work, not on the clock. But we're good on this interview. But
cool.
Yeah, I only mostly wear it when I'm at work. I got kind of like accustomed to it. I'm used to it now. Like before, when I wasn't wearing it, I didn't want to wear it. Everybody used to yell at me for it. Even my job sent me home one time for not having one on. So it's like, okay, from now on when I'm at work, I'm always wear this mask.
Because I know it does well for ladies. I've seen some ladies out there that, man, you put that mask on them, I'm all about that girl. As soon as she takes that thing off, I'm like, all right, see a dentist, put the mask back on.
But you know what? Am I the only one that went through this during the pandemic when everybody was wearing a mask or you couldn't go into a grocery store without wearing a mask? I really gained a little bit of appreciation of that whole Muslim culture thing because after 9 months and not seeing a woman's whole face, she'd take that mask off and it'd be like, oh, wow, because you got to finally see their whole face. That really was a turn on. All right, it was just me. Fine, okay.
I don't know. Everywhere that I seem to go, it was like I went to a gas station. I put my mask on because, I was doing what I was told to do. You got to put the mask on. Do what you're told. Do what you're told. And I said, okay, I'm going to do what I'm told. I went into the gas station I always went into every morning on my way to work because I worked through the entire, pandemic. And everybody in there had their mask down. They're drinking coffee. They're having a good time. The other day, I went into the hospital for therapy because I got to go to therapy there at the hospital. And they're still big on, you got to wear the mask,
Right.
And I got yelled at actually for not wearing a mask as I'm walking in. I sit down in my doctor's office and the nurse comes in and he's talking to me. And he goes, I said, I'm sorry for not wearing a mask. I took it down. I got yelled at, but whatever. He goes, don't worry about it. They don't do shit anyways. And this is a nurse that was telling me this. I was like, all right, well, then I'm not wearing this thing anymore. I'm done. Throw it out. Never going to happen.
Hey, you know what I like about the mask thing though?
Yeah.
You can actually hide from people that you don't want, or you don't feel like talking to them.
Yeah.
I think that's the best part to me, because that's another reason why I still work. Because sometimes I see somebody ID, you see somebody, you don't really feel like, you don't want to be seen sometimes, or you don't feel like talking. So I throw it up right here, and then I just creep out. Sometimes they still recognize me though, because of the eyes they said.
John, what's the stage you want to play but haven't yet? Scott wants to know.
I haven't yet. I would love to do any stage in the world, Madison Square Garden, or that, or I would say the Gotham or the comic live strip out in New York. I'd love to do that.
That'll work.
You got to get out to Vegas. You got to play out in Vegas or something.
Oh yeah, I would love to do Vegas too, man.
I got a mask story for you, Seth. This is my favorite mask story of all time. Guy comes in to my office when I was practicing law and said that he was charged with robbing a bank, but that he didn't do it. I said, okay. Next day, I got the the evidence from the prosecutor, and there's a video. The camera was right behind the teller, the bank teller, shooting over her shoulder.
Right.
Next thing you know, here comes my client, walks up, looks to the left, looks to the right, pulls up his mask, and tries to rob the bank. I told him, dude, if you can't figure out to put your mask on sometime between when you leave the car and get to the front door, maybe you should try another line of crime.
Yeah.
Bank robbery is not for you.
Well, where you play? You playing out this week, or where are you playing?
I know tomorrow we got the show with
right.
We're gonna be in Columbia, Ohio.
Yep.
We're doing the Ohio Comics Stand Up for East Palestine show. I'm on there, Mike's on there, Jason Monturno, Steve Swanson, forgot who else is on there. Jay Bach is the one running it. Shout out to him. He's the one that put me on the show. He's producing it.
Yep.
There's a few other comics in that area, but it's going to be at the Columbiana Cultural Collective place.
Yep.
And it's at 7:00. And the people that want to come through, they can come through. They just ask it if everybody makes $20 donations.
Yep.
For the people, yeah.
And then they can use the receipt to get in. Scott wants to know if you're going to be playing in Cuyahoga Falls, because he has tickets for that one.
Yes. We have one of the fundraising shows is in Cuyahoga Falls, so he'll be able to see the touring show. I don't know if you're going to be able to make that bill, but the reason why I was going to ask is, where are you when you're not doing for East Palestine? What do you got coming up? Where can people see you?
I know this Saturday I'm going to be in Cleveland.
Okay.
At the Old World Tavern in Euclid. It's like Cleveland, Euclid, same thing.
Yep.
And then April 16th, I'm back in my area. I'm going to be in Strugglers at Tangiers. I'm doing I'm hosting an open mic comedy.
I hope I'll be at that one. I want to come see you and work with you there too.
Definitely. You're more than welcome, bro. And April 29th, I'm doing my other venue, Eastside Civics in Youngstown, Ohio. And that's going to be at 9:00, $5 at the door.
Cool.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. Much appreciated.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. I'm going to have to dig down deep for that Crazy Roll story, man, because this was so much fun. There's so many. I can't really pick just one, you know what I mean?
Well, this is cable, dude. You don't have to be clean. You can just tell it like it happened. But no, that's cool.
All people got to do is go to the waystationinc.org. The waystationinc.org. They can donate there. Go to the other section. Put in EP, East Palestine, whatever. Donate, hopefully $20. Get you your receipt, and then get at any of these comedy shows. So it should be cool.
Yeah. One last thing I want to add, because John, between being humble and a little bit shy and stuff like that, is not on here just tooting just his own horn. But he works pretty tirelessly and has done a lot to open doors and make sure that comics starting out and comics that deserve work and stuff like that have a chance and a place to stay. When he MCs a show, there's, enough good people on it. You ever see his name associated with a show, it's definitely worth your time and your money. Go see it.
I appreciate that, Mikey. Thanks, man.
You got it, bro.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on tonight. We do appreciate it, my friend. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
You're welcome, man. Thank you guys again for having me. I appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Got it.
All right. John Huff, thank you so much for coming on. We do appreciate it. And we'll be back in 2 minutes. We got to talk about this Bud Light thing. All right?
Yeah.
Hang on.
What's going on, everybody? It is Chris Aiken from the Classic Metal Show and Chris Aiken Presents and every other show that you've ever watched on the CMS network, I think. And while it's fun to talk about music and stuff, sometimes we got to get a little bit serious here. And this is one of those times. Anybody that lives in Ohio is certainly well aware of what's going on over in East Palestine. And the CMS network, as well as the Seth Williams Show and Classic Metal Show and Chris Aiken Presents, and really everybody on the network, we are participating in a charity to help raise some money for the people of East Palestine. Ohio Comics Stand Up for East Palestine is the charity. It's being put on by the Way Station, thewaystation.org. What it is it's a series of comedy events that are going on through the next month and a half to raise money for the people of East Palestine. You can see on the flyer where the events are going to be. They're at various comedy stops around northeastern Ohio. It's a great cause. All of the money, every penny of the money that is raised, goes to help the people from East Palestine to get everything from air filters to water to, getting their soil ready for planting and the things that they do. So do yourselves a favor, give yourself some good karma, do them more of a favor than yourself, and donate. Won't you go to thewaystation.org? You'll see the donate now. Click the donate now button, and right on the screen that loads up, you'll see where it says to donate some money. Donate a little bit of money. Your donation will act as your ticket. So whatever you donate, it'll get you in the door for any one of these comedy events. It's a great night of comedy. Even if you don't give a damn about the event itself, you certainly can give a damn about having a great night out. So go do it. It's cheap and it's helpful to the community, and that's what we expect you to do. So go do it today. Ohio Comics, stand up for East Palestine.
TheWaystationInc.org, TheWaystationInc.org. Check it out. We are back. Seth Williams Show with Mike Jaselka. Thanks to John Huff for coming on. Bud Light, a little bit of involved in a little bit of a scandal, if you will. Wouldn't you call it that?
Oh, I think it's more than that. I think it's a little bit of irony, but yeah, it certainly didn't do well for the people that used to be their marketing team. They all got fired.
There you go. Yeah, so let's hear from one of the people on the marketing team. This is a video that I pulled from today. One of the VP of marketing, I believe, talking about why the change in the advertising angle, I guess, if you will, going with what, a drag queen?
What?
Trans?
Yeah, that'd be a trend. They're not all the same.
I understand they're not all the same. Yes, I can distinguish the difference between black people, and I know the difference between.
Well, not every trans is a drag queen.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So I want to say that.
Wrong one.
Oops, wrong queen.
Yeah, wrong queen right there. That's a different queen altogether.
I'm a businesswoman. I had a really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light. And it was, this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time. And if we do not attract young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light. So I had this super clear mandate. It's like, we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand. And what I brought to that was a belief in, okay, what does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter and brighter and different and appeals to women and to men. And representation is at sort of the heart of evolution. You've got to see people who reflect you in the work. And we had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor. And it was really important that we had another approach.
All right. So, there they have VP of marketing.
Well, I hate to throw a big monkey wrench into what people think might have happened, but here's my dilemma. Everybody jumps all over my ass and says, oh my God, you communist, just let the capitalists make their money, as much money as they want, any way they want, and on and on and on and on. But when Bud Light decides they're going to do a campaign to maybe attract and make the money from everybody that is, not traditional in their sexuality, people go outside and Kid Rock shot up a couple cases of Bud Light with a gun, and people said, oh my God, I'll never drink this beer again. And now one of those conservative people said, damn it, they're just capitalists trying to make a buck. Leave them alone. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Look, I'm all for capitalism. I say leave them alone because I think they're killing their product. One, I think it tastes like garbage anyway. So
God, yes. Jesus, that was never good beer. It was just
don't
cheap.
care. Unless they want to advertise here, in which case it'll be the best beer I've ever drank in my entire life. And I'll put on a wig. And
yeah, there you go.
And I don't need to grow bigger breasts, but I'll do my best. I'll do whatever they'd like me to do. But I just don't think it's a good business move. Although it has produced some of the funniest TikTok videos I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yep.
Of guys drinking beers that all of a sudden turn into their wives.
I have said more than once on this show that who we really need to be paying attention to is advertising, because they plant the seeds and then they come back later and harvest the crop. Case in point. I think part of the backlash and part of the minority, the white people being threatened, is because all of a sudden on TV, you couldn't see four people riding in a car together unless one of them was black, one of them was white, one of them was Oriental, and one of them was God could only know. And that threatened and pissed a lot of people off, because in the neighborhoods they lived in, they never saw that. They just literally never saw that. And they felt like stuff was being threatened and pushed down their throats. And I think that contributes a lot to, case in point, there's a commercial out now about a girl that has a mustache. And all of a sudden she sees this Freddie Mercury album, and then she orders this yellow jacket and she spins around. It's for Amazon. And then at the end of the commercial, the thing zeroes in and there's the little mustache. That is advertising, telling people how and what to think.
Now, see,
I've done from the beginning of time.
I've seen that commercial 112 times because I see it every night when I'm watching Hulu before I go to bed. I've never even noticed the mustache, to be honest with you. But I have a different opinion than you on this, obviously. I think that we are now pandering to the vocal minority and ignoring the majority. Why?
Because
why are we doing that? It's to prove a damn point anymore, and it's stupid.
No,
you want to sell your beers,
will pander to anywhere they think there's a dollar.
Okay, if you think that that's going to create more people buying Bud Light, it's wrong. You're wrong. I mean, what's going to happen is you're going to piss off the majority of the people that actually enjoy the beer, whoever those people are, and they're not going to buy it. because they feel like they're being
let's
pushed
take
aside
that
because
circle.
once again, the woke left wants to take control of this
You
situation.
can't blame the woke left. Just
You
like
can
I
absolutely
said,
blame the woke left. Look,
Seth,
transgender
let me
may
finish
be
this
a
point.
thing now.
When we had McDonald's on and they were going to automate every place, and I said, if you don't like nobody working there and everything being automated and you not even knowing what comes out of the building because it's a machine that hands you your order, then everybody should stop supporting McDonald's and go to Burger King. And everybody that called in laughed their ass off going, you're never going to get people to not spend their money at McDonald's. So don't tell me now that it's because people are woke and people are going to stop drinking Bud Light because they're sick of the liberals. It's not the liberals. Wall Street is not liberal. Wall Street, though, wants to make $1 wherever it's at.
No.
Every time we bring up these
You realize that transgenders are like the minority here, right? You do realize that
Of course.
just because it's the cool topic of the day where people actually, it's all of a sudden in to be transgender, doesn't mean that the majority of them are going to start buying Bud Light because they put a
completely
stupid ad
agree.
out.
But
Look,
quit blaming the
because they
liberals
put-
for doing that. Blame the
put-
capitalists.
If they put a white person and a black person together in a commercial, doesn't mean that all of a sudden white people and black people are going to go start buying a product. They're doing it to prove a point, to pander to the vocal minority, so they don't be. They're not accused of being sexist. So they're not being accused of being
They're
racist.
not doing it to be
so they're not being
defensive.
accused of being anti-trans. They're doing this because they don't want to seem insensitive to this woke
I
left
disagree.
society. And they're not going to make
disagree.
any extra money on this. They're going to lose money on this.
Okay, between you and me, I think you're dead wrong. They're not doing it to be defensive, Seth. They're doing it to be offensive. Wall Street runs the advertising corporations. Wall Street wants to groom. You talk about people being groomed. Forget the kids in elementary school and who reads to them. It's everybody that sits at home tonight. Wall Street and the advertising agencies are grooming you to be how they want you to be. It ain't the liberals. It's capitalism without a conscience. They're the ones that are telling you every time they show you a commercial for another pill, ask your doctor. Ask your doctor if this is right for you. They say things in those commercials like, tell your doctor if you're pregnant. How can somebody be your damn doctor if they have no clue you're pregnant? My point is, it's capitalism that is telling us how we are supposed to be. It ain't because the liberals are in charge of shit.
If it was a White Claw, I would understand.
There you go. And if it was Blue Moon, I'm all over it, you know?
Look, I just think that they're hurting their brand by doing something
I
like
agree.
this. And
But-
what they're doing, though, again, I truly believe is pandering to this whatever this. I don't want to call it a fad because people will get mad at me. But this new
Current
wave
event.
of whatever it is that's going on.
This new
That's all it
topicality.
is. It's a wave of stuff that's going on right now. All this stuff comes and goes. And if it, in a year or 6 months, it'll be something different that's
Yes.
out there. And
it's on the drawing boards right now on Wall Street, and it's on the drawing boards right now in advertising agencies. And it's not because liberals are in charge of shit. It's because advertising agencies play liberals against conservatives, but in the meantime, they tell you what they want you to do and how they want you to be. I'm not even going to say I wish because that's not it. Liberals don't run Wall Street.
okay,
But
nobody's saying
unfettered
anything about Wall
capitalism-
Street. I'm saying about when it comes to Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light putting this stuff out, putting this ad out, whatever it is, that they're doing it so they seem like they're hip. I mean, listen to the lady. She thought that the brand needed something different. Why do you need it different? There's no need to do something different. There's still
Well, yes, she
a
said it.
thriving beer.
Sales were down.
Okay, sales are down because her product sucks, not because there's not a trans person on the bottle.
There you go. But not one person defended and said, stop it. All they're trying to do is make money. Let them be. I'm sick of, and I've told you this, not only on the air, but off the air. You know this, Seth. I am really tired. As a stand-up comic, I am sick of the fact that 97% of the people have to walk around on eggshells so that 3% of the population doesn't feel uncomfortable. That is not normal. That is not natural. And that certainly isn't tolerant and open-minded to me. In the old days, if you went to see Don Rickles and he didn't make a comment about Irish people, all the Irish people walked out of the show pissed off because he skipped over them.
Now,
That tolerance is gone.
In my eyes, this is just another way that the country is being divided by either business or by whatever, by societies, by what.
I agree.
But it's just another thing to divide people. You didn't
completely
need to change. You're not going to sell more beer. You're not going to sell more beer by putting this kind of advertising out there. They did it to, I don't know, maybe create a controversy so they get some sort of publicity. But what they did, I think, is going to backfire in the long run, and it's not going to be a good thing. But
every once in a while, capitalism gets caught with
step. It's another step in just
making things worse.
Things to promote. I don't know what they're even promoting. I don't know why they're doing it now.
Yeah. You know, and every once in a while, capitalism isn't infallible. Every once in a while, they make a huge mistake. Remember, Coke is still apologizing for changing the formula. Every once in a while, Coke has to still come along and go, this tastes like the original Coke. No, it doesn't, because it's not made with sugar. It's made with corn syrup. But that's a whole separate argument. But my point is advertising, you want a novel to read over the course of the summer. Go back and read some of the old books about the studies that were done in the 1920s when they figured out ergonomics and how to successfully make advertising into a hypnotizing tool. That was done on purpose, and they've been doing it ever since. And you know as well as I do, if they decided to come out with that, let's put a transgender guy as the spokesperson for Bud, that campaign started a year ago. It just happened to be in the news the last couple months when it came out and everybody reacted to it. But those plans were in the making long before it was ever an issue. They create the issues to divide us. It's not the liberals and it's not the conservatives. It's
because they're probably buying something cheaper. I beg to differ. There's really nothing cheaper than Bud.
I don't know if you can,
you can buy a 3-can of Bud Ice for like $3. So 3-pack of cans, big cans.
Yep.
Like Ice House. That is very, very cheap. Yes. But it's kind of tasty, and you really don't notice the taste after a couple of them.
After 9 of them, they all taste the same.
They all taste the same. It doesn't really matter. So I told you, this is a funny story. I told you I've been doing little DoorDash stuff on the side to make some extra money.
Right.
And the other day I had I don't drive, so my wife is doing it, but I'm the navigator. But the other day, I just wanted to tell this story because it was hysterical. Got an order, had to drive 12 miles. 12 miles.
Okay.
From a little liquor store in Parma somewhere. All the way the hell out to like kind of where we live, a little further than where we live.
Okay.
The person who ordered this wanted 1 can of beer. A can of beer. Spent probably after fees, tip, the cost of the beer, everything, probably spent close to $20 on a can of beer. Got there, the person was already hammered, so probably doesn't even remember ordering the can of beer. But man, that's hardcore.
Milwaukee?
No, it was kind of a crafty kind of beer, but the unfortunate part is the one that they ordered was out of stock, so we had to ask for something similar. And so didn't even get the one that they ordered.
Wow.
But it was like a $20 can of beer. And I was like, man, it's like 6:00 at night and you were ripped and you were going to thoroughly enjoy this 1 can of beer until tomorrow morning. You spent $20 on it. Well, at least they didn't drive. Yeah, but I could have just called me. I would have gone down the street, give me $20. I'd have bought you a case of beer.
Right.
Kept the tip.
In the old days, man, you'd have picked up a 6-pack and split it with them.
Yeah.
It's just is. But you know what? I'm telling you, this is such a pivotal teaching point. This is the kind of stuff that we really can build off of if you stop and think about it. When they push these buttons on purpose to get you to react a certain way and then tell you the only person you're supposed to jump and hate is the opposite party and the opposite social way of thinking, we're both being used.
All right, but
Both being used.
Here's my point. Please, I know there's going to be a lot of people, especially some people I know, that are going to get very upset about what I'm about to say. Have you heard the hashtag #MeToo lately?
No, I haven't. Tell me about it.
Hashtag #MeToo is the women's movement back just a couple of years ago. And it was hashtag #MeToo. Everything was hashtag #MeToo. Everything. Everywhere you looked, it was hashtag #MeToo. Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, everything was hashtag #MeToo. All this stuff seems to go in waves where people jump on the bandwagon of what's going on. And it's this liberal agenda. Don't take offense, but it is this agenda that people are pushing that divides us. And again, Bud Light, I don't think, was trying to sell more beer because they had to know that this wasn't going to work for them. What they're doing is jumping on the current agenda that is being pushed, where kids are being mutilated because apparently a 5 or 6 year old now knows what gender they're supposed to be when they don't. When you have the president of the United States and the staff of the president trying to say that you cannot pass laws against children wanting to do this to themselves. Parents don't even need to know about it in some instances. And now Bud Light is jumping on this trans bandwagon, this agenda that is going on right now that's being pushed. I don't care if you're trans. Do what you want with your life. One, you should be old enough to make those decisions. Two, if you're going to be young, your parents should damn right have a responsibility to protect you the way that they need to protect you. But it's another company jumping on an agenda of the left, is what it seems like, because that's the left's agenda. It's not the right agenda.
The left is a creation of the same businesses.
Look, I'm not saying.
How about this?
The point. I'm saying the agenda itself is a liberal agenda.
No,
the right doesn't have an agenda of trans, and that women who formerly were men should be playing in women's sports. That's a left agenda.
I disagree. I'll tell you why. There's an app every kid can buy on their phone. And with that app, you can change everybody's face. You can change them into an animal face. You can put up woman, and it will take your features and show you what you would look like.
Absolutely.
I'm those apps are out there.
It's been around for a very long time.
Why do we need that on every kid's phone? Why can a kid play with that when he's 5, 6, 7 years old, when they are still trying to figure out who they are? That was designed and put out there on purpose. You can make people into the devil. You can make people into like frogs. You can make people into aliens. And that little thing kids play with for hours. And let's go back to what you said at the beginning of the show, because you were damn right. If you are the parent in that household and you don't know your child is playing with that for days and hours every single day, you are failing as a parent. Because a lot of the things that were out there were, Jesus, when I grew up, there weren't cell phones, but the phones in everybody's house. I never once looked at a phone. I never once went into a public building, saw a payphone, saw the phone sitting in a friend's or neighbor's house, and said to myself, boy, I wish I could take a picture of my dick with that. Ever.
No, but Mike, I hate to tell you,
but it's out there for every little kid to play with.
But no wonder 2023, we do need to adjust to the times. All right, there aren't payphones anymore. Okay, so you do need to adjust to the times, but it does come down to parenting. But I also have Snapchat on my phone, and I used it to actually take a picture of myself looking like a woman. I posted it online when I worked for the radio station. Took one of my boss and posted it online. But I never then said, you know what, I want to be a woman.
Yeah, but you were an adult. You weren't 5, 6, 7 years old. And what if you think as a little boy or a teenager, and if ever all your friends think you're ugly, or you have no self-esteem, and all of a sudden you go, oh my God, I could be this if I was
exactly. So you know what? That's when parenting comes in, and that's why companies should not be pushing that kind of agenda.
And that's not because liberals are in charge of anything. That's because business will do anything for a buck. And if it ruins our kids, they don't give a shit. And that's what's wrong with that.
Are they not pushing that agenda, or pushing that is an okay way to live and an okay way to be? It's different. I hate to tell people, and I hate to get religious on you, and you're a religious guy.
Yeah.
I don't care. Again, let me qualify this by saying, I don't care what the hell you do. Whatever you do behind closed doors is your business.
Right.
It's fine with me. It doesn't matter to me what you do.
Yeah.
That's okay for you. It's different for me. God created things a certain way, though. Parts fit for a reason. All right. There's a reason why reproductive things work the way that they do. That's the way God designed it.
Yeah.
All right. If there's something else going on in you and you feel differently, then that's for you to deal with and for you to handle and everything else, and go be whoever you want to be. But I think when it comes to companies and politics and politicians and presidents pushing that agenda on people is where I have a problem. Stay out of my damn bedroom. Stay out of other people's bedrooms. Do what you want to do in your own time and be who you want to be. But I don't think it's right for companies to be pushing it and glorifying it for children. I don't think it's right for politicians and presidents to be pushing it and glorifying it for children. Go be who you feel like being and make that a family decision and make it something that parents discuss with their kids or you decide as an adult you want to do. But when companies start making money off of it and promoting it like this is something to glorify, I have a problem with that.
So do I. And here's my point. Conservatives don't stop it and liberals tolerate it. Not stopping it and tolerating it are opposite sides of the same coin. But it is created by business. It ain't because the liberals are in charge of anything. It's anything for a buck. And in order to make a buck, you have to nail two things together that have never been nailed together before. That's what's new, different, and exciting. And as business goes through and makes up all this shit, and it doesn't get stopped, and it gets tolerated, both sides are equally as wrong. And that's been my point since day one. If you want to pretend to be a girl and you get reinforcement of that on social media and on your phone, and there's apps that help you do it, and Verizon doesn't care because they charge by how many units of data go through your phone, my party's not pushing them. The party isn't pushing, it's tolerating. If everybody's going to be around and we're going to let that shit happen, it's just like people, we have to tolerate people that have guns and kill people because that's just the price you pay for things. If conservatives aren't going to stop it and liberals are going to tolerate it, both sides are equally guilty of not affecting a change. Change comes when we stop being enemies and do things and fix things together. That's been my whole point since day one. And on a lot of things, deep down, we're not that different. You're born the way you're supposed to be and you live your life. I completely agree. But I'll tell you this. All the science also indicates that pure homosexuality is not a learned behavior. It's a born behavior. Now, are there things wrong with the science and evolution of being human? Yeah. Just like people are born with cleft palates. And people are born without arms or legs, or people are born with two heads, and twins are born conjoined. There are all kinds of defects in the natural world, but you accept those people once they're there. When business starts to create the market for that, that's evil, but it ain't because the left is right, and it's not because the right is wrong. It happens and is decided before we ever get to vote.
And look,
by the time it comes out, it's too late.
I am going to say it for the 100th time tonight. I don't care what you are or what you do.
Amen.
That's not my problem. I don't care if you're gay, you're straight, or whatever you feel like doing is your business. I think that the government and business should stay out of our bedrooms. You have a product, promote it, but stay out of our damn bedrooms and seriously quit telling our kids that it's okay to start mutilating themselves at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And when they don't have the ability to understand the consequences that are coming with those actions.
And business is the one that came up with the pill that makes it easy for a woman to terminate a pregnancy.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
That's but that's
topic for a different show.
That's business in our bedrooms, and that's what I mean.
It's not the Democratic Party of 10 years ago. Mike, you have to agree with that. This is not Kennedy's Democratic.
Give me a week. Give me a week. one of these nights, I'm going to start a whole show where we'll decide to do a topic on what Eisenhower warned about and what Goldwater warned about and what happened with all the Republicans that got disillusioned and gave rise to Ronald Reagan. It is a lot deeper than just 10 years ago because I've been watching and playing this game for 60 of them.
All right, here's the deal. I'm going to play this new rock moment again because we're trying to get this thing sponsored. And then we're going to call it a night for the night. But what we're going to do is Wednesday night, we have Tony Masaccio coming on live. He'll be somewhere great to eat once again. I think I know where he's going to be. I think he's going to be eating some Mexican on Wednesday night. So we'll talk to him. And then next week and in the coming weeks, there's going to be some changes. We're going to freshen things up a little bit. We're going to make things even better, add some stuff. And I'm excited about it.
Me too.
And then we're going to get into some deep discussions. We got some good guests coming up we'll get into, and we'll get things rolling. So thanks, Mike, for tonight. Appreciate it as usual.
You too, bro.
Everybody listening, watching, appreciate it. And God willing, we'll talk to you Wednesday night. I'm excited as we move forward here. All right?
Me too.
All right. It's the Seth Williams Show with Mike Jasulka, and we will talk to you on Wednesday night. See you.
Good night, everybody.
What's going on, everybody? Chris Aiken here with another edition of the New Music Moment right here on the Seth Williams Show. And today we are going to feature a band known as Red Rain. Some of you may have seen this band before because they do play somewhat in the area. A lot of Pittsburgh gigs. They do play somewhat in Pittsburgh quite a bit, even though they're from Virginia. But they make the drive to come up. They're a completely independent band. They're really, really a fantastic rock band. They're getting ready to release a new album here, probably the middle of this year, but they've been working their EP, which is simply called Red Rain, for about 4 years now, and they've toured with bands like Tesla, they've played with Dokken and those types of bands, Jackal, Quiet Riot, etc. So they've played with a lot of bands that you might know. They tend to play Jurgles a lot over there in Pittsburgh. So if you've ever gone to Jurgles, you might have run into Red Rain. Kind of a classic sounding hard rock / metal tinged band. They're led by singer Bubba McMichael, who's really fantastic. Just a great band, great solid effort. They're a little bit older guys. They're kind of our age, maybe a little younger than me, but they're in their 40s range, which means that they're seasoned, and they really are a fantastic band. So why don't we do this? We'll play their single, which has been a hit. It has actually done quite a bit of business for them on the internet and out there on like online radio and whatnot. So let's check it out. This is their single, Not That Way, and this is Red Rain, right here on the Seth Williams Show. Kicked ass, didn't it, you guys? Yeah, it did. That, of course, Red Rain, Not That Way. That is their biggest single to date. Like I said, they have a brand new release that's coming out. It's being done by all pros. I believe it's being produced by David Ivory, who does Hailstorm and bands like that. So it's not these guys are not rookies by any stretch of the imagination, and their music kicks ass. So check these guys out. Go online, redrainmusic.com is the website if you want to check them out. And of course, go to the streaming platforms. They are out there to be listened to if you want to hear more. So Red Rain are the band. Check them out, redrainmusic.com. And that's going to do it for this episode of the New Music Moment here on the Seth Williams Show. Make sure you check me out, chrisaiken.net for Chris Aiken Presents, which airs Mondays live, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., or during the week if you just want to get the clips, the on demand, it's all there, chrisaiken.net. And for the Seth Williams Show, this has been the New Music Minute, and I have been Chris Aiken. And you know what, folks? Promise, I will be again next week. See ya!